It's no secret that plenty of people are obsessed with the Kardashian family. We want to know what they're wearing, how much they spend on their lavish vacations, and who Khloe's father is.
I know all the rumors are absolutely ridiculous.
For some reason, fans can't stop speculating that Khloe's biological father is someone other than the late Robert Kardashian.
My dad is my dad and my stepdad's my stepdad. Thank you.
There have been plenty of rumors about the Kardashian-Jenner family over the years, and for whatever reason, the question of Khloe's paternity has had staying power.
10 years later after my dad passed away and say that I'm not his daughter.
One reason some fans are obsessed with the idea that Robert Sr. isn't her biological father is because Khloe looks so different from the rest of her siblings. Of course, Kylie and Kendall share a father, so they look a lot alike and less similar than their older siblings. And Rob is a man, so obviously he looks quite different than his sis Khloe. So we're talking about the resemblance, or lack thereof, between Khloe and Kim and Kourtney. Many fans have pointed out that at 5'10", she's much taller than Kourtney, who is 5'1", and Kim, who is 5'3". And the fact that she's significantly taller than these two sisters isn't the only way in which they look different. Khloe, Kim, and Kourtney share similar styles now, but check out some older photos of the three of them, and you can see that the family resemblance is much stronger between Kim and Kourtney. We all know Khloe has lost a lot of weight and got a revenge body over the years, and she's also admitted to having procedures done on her face. On Cocktails with Khloe, she admitted to having fillers or Botox added while she was going through difficulties with her then-husband, Lamar Odom.
I did one of them, my whole face went numb and I could not make, I had to dissolve everything.
According to Khloe, the stress from her marriage caused her to look crazy, and even having the fillers dissolved still left her looking different. Khloe seems to resemble her siblings much more nowadays, but looking at old photos, it's not hard to see why some fans would question her connection to Robert Kardashian. And that's far from the only reason these rumors persist. Kris Jenner is an excelled momager, but she's admitted to struggling with monogamy in the past. She actually met Robert when she was dating professional golfer Cesar Sanudo, who traveled out of town frequently for his career. According to Kris, she was young and feeling lonely and found comfort in the arms of Robert Kardashian during this time, a fact which she's openly admitted. Even though Kris ended up married to Robert and described her marriage as a happy one, she also stepped out on him. She had an affair with her friend and personal trainer Todd Waterman, which she now calls her lowest point and biggest regret. Her affair was public knowledge, and the reason for her incredibly painful divorce. Since we know Kris cheated with Robert and on Robert, some suspect that her infidelity could be the reason Khloe doesn't strongly resemble her siblings. Plenty of fans have weighed in with their opinions, and so have people who were actually close to the couple. When Robert passed away in 2003, his widow, Ellen Pearson, spoke out against the Kardashian family, and she didn't exactly have the most benevolent attitude towards them. Against the many claims she made was the fact that Robert himself believed he wasn't Khloe's biological father. According to Ellen, Robert confessed this before he passed. But as you can imagine, the surviving Kardashians refute this claim. They accused Ellen of making this up and trying to profit by spreading damaging rumors about their family. Khloe in particular found the timing of these statements suspicious since they were shortly after Ellen declared bankruptcy. But Robert's widow wasn't the only person to make such a statement. According to family friend Joni Midgull, Robert didn't know for sure if he was Khloe's biological father, and he didn't care. Joni said that while he questioned his biological relationship to Khloe, his love for her was something he never doubted for a moment, which is why he declined to get any kind of DNA testing while he was alive. So if some people believe Robert isn't Khloe's biological father, then who do they think is? Well, how much time do we have left in this video? Because the list of suspects is long, and some of the guesses may be a little bit out there. One of the suspects is Kris Jenner's hairstylist, Alex Roldan. The basis for this is that obviously he's close with Kris, and the kids and some fans believe he and Khloe look alike, especially when you see pics of Alex when he was younger. He's also much taller than the late Robert Kardashian, who was only 5'7", while as we mentioned earlier, Khloe is 5'10". But height isn't everything. After all, Robert Kardashian stands 6 feet 1 inches tall, making him much taller than both of his parents. And we don't hear people questioning his paternity. The evidence for Alex is really just circumstantial, and there's something which makes us doubt the connection between him and Khloe even more. Kylie Jenner shared a photo of Khloe and Alex on Instagram with the caption, "First official photo of my sister and her dad. Like father, like daughter." Obviously, this was a joke. And if Alex really was Khloe's dad, we don't think Kylie would be making light about the situation on social media. The next candidate may also seem a little extreme and downright strange considering one family member's romantic relationship. Long before Scott Disick was dating Sophia Richie, Kris Jenner and Lionel Richie traveled in the same social circles. According to an anonymous source reported by In Touch, Lionel and Kris had an affair back in the 80s when the Tenderheart singer was on the outs with his wife. Another of Kris's hairstylists, Daniel DeCrisio, said this momager was a big flirt back then, and that Lionel was no slouch in that department either. And there are also some fans who insist Khloe and Sophia look similar enough to be sisters. But according to Lionel himself, while he's close with Khloe and the rest of the family, she's not his biological daughter. Maybe we're so eager to dismiss this one because we don't want to doubt Lionel Richie. Or maybe it's because it would make Scott Disick dating Sophia Richie even stranger. Now let's get into the #1 suspect when it comes to paternity of Khloe Kardashian, OJ Simpson. He and Robert Kardashian actually met all the way back in 1967 when OJ was a running back for the University of Southern California and Robert helped out as a water boy. While they weren't close at first, a few years later they reconnected through a mutual friend when Robert was a lawyer and OJ was playing for the Buffalo Bills. Kris met OJ through Robert when the football star was married to his first wife, Marguerite L. Whitley. When OJ met Nicole Brown, she and Kris became fast friends, and the two couples shared an incredibly close relationship. The kids called him Uncle OJ, and he even visited Kris in the hospital after she gave birth to Courtney. The two couples divorced around the same time, and there were rumors that Kris and OJ had been more than friends at one point, around the time when Khloe was conceived. Some fans think that not only does Khloe look like OJ, but so does her daughter True. Even his manager, Norman Pardo, claimed there was a possibility that Khloe was biologically related to his client. But there are quite a few problems with this story. Yes, Kris cheated on her husband, but Nicole was her best friend, and the two were incredibly close. Khloe was born in 1984 when OJ and Nicole were very much still together, and hooking up with her best friend's husband and her husband's best friend would have been an incredibly callous move, to say the least. Then there's the fact that even OJ Simpson himself says it's not true. According to OJ, Norman Pardo wasn't even his manager when he made that outlandish claim. He said that he and Robert were like brothers, and that he and Kris never crossed the line from platonic pals to anything more. And of course, Kris and the rest of her family vehemently denies that Khloe and OJ are related in any way, shape, or form. The Kardashian-Jenner family is well aware of these rumors, and they've even joked about them on episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. In fact, Kris Jenner once insisted they take a DNA test to try to put the issue to rest once and for all. You might think Khloe would have been totally on board, but it turns out the good American mogul couldn't care less.
Why wouldn't we just do a DNA test? Once and for all, we have an answer.
Khloe said she doesn't care what anyone thinks, and while she went along with the ancestry test, she wasn't enthusiastic about it. While this absolutely could be because she knows her father is Robert Kardashian, and there's nothing new to prove, her family had a different take on the situation. On Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kris described Khloe as tortured because she was so unsure about who her biological father is. She thought it was Khloe's ego which prevented her from taking a test.
If I wanted to get a paternity test, I would.
Even though Kim accused Kris of wanting to clear her own reputation. But despite this, Kim admitted that Khloe had cried to her over the subject of her paternity before. And although Khloe insisted she was over it, her family wasn't convinced. That was back in season 7. And in season 15, Khloe took part in a 23andMe ancestry test along with the rest of her family. So, what did the test prove? According to Khloe's 23andMe results, she is 58% Euro, 41.6% Middle Eastern, as well as 1% Native American and East Asian. Courtney remarked that the two of them really are sisters, and that if Khloe wasn't Middle Eastern at all, there would have been a problem, since the late Robert Kardashian was Armenian American. These results aren't a paternity test, so it's possible that some people will argue Kris could have cheated with someone who happened to have a similar ancestry to Robert. Or depending on how deep down the conspiracy rabbit hole you want to go, you could even accuse Kris of faking these results to clear her name, or just because she wanted to spice up an episode of her reality show. But at the end of the day, Khloe's made it clear that no matter what any test says, Robert Kardashian is her father, and it's clear that he felt that way too. Even if we believe his ex-wife that he doubted his paternity, even she admitted that he decided to raise her as his own just the same. Khloe said that her favorite parenting technique she learned from Robert was unconditional love. She claims that's the entire point of family. Losing him was absolutely devastating, and she admits that she and True both talk and pray to him regularly. Even if Robert isn't her biological father, and that certainly seems unlikely based on all the evidence, it's clear that he was her dad in all the ways that are important. Do you think Khloe's biological father is someone other than Robert Kardashian? Share your theories with us and your fellow Kardashian fans in the comment section below. And make sure to stay up to date with us here at The Taco by clicking on the subscribe button and turning on your notifications. We'll see you next time.